What's going on, Critical Bench Nation? It's Anthony Allione here, and today we've got a very, very special guest. Some of you probably know him. He's been on the channel a couple times. It's Vince DelMonte, and he's got some very, very great information for us. So let's go ahead and get started. He's going to tell us about HMAX. He's going to tell us exactly what the hype is in all this muscle building program. I mean, it's literally everywhere, and I personally know them both, and I'm excited for you just so you guys can hear what's going on with it. So let's get started. Vince, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Thanks, Anthony. And thank you, everybody who's joined us on this call and for taking some time out of, I'm sure, your very busy day to learn a thing or two. So, yeah, thank you for having me.
Awesome. So, Vince, can you start off just by telling us a little bit about yourself and, how you got started in the fitness industry?
Sure. Well, I got into the fitness industry after I graduated from the University of Western Ontario with a kinesiology degree. That's basically exercise science. And I was 22 at the time, and I just finished a running career. I was a long-distance runner, and I'd earned the nickname Skinny Vinny in my early high school days, and being skinny isn't good for business. No. I got into the fitness industry as a personal trainer after I got my kinesiology degree, and I wanted to accomplish two things. I wanted to start my career, and I wanted to attract some clients, and I wanted to get rid of this Skinny Vinny nickname that had plagued me my entire life. And because my running career was over, for the first time in my life, I had an opportunity to transfer all the effort and time I'd once put into a running career into the gym, into bodybuilding. And it's funny because when I was in university, I lived with, I swear, like the 8 most ripped and muscular guys on campus. Those guys were my roommates. And living with like super ripped and muscular guys, you get to see what the muscle gives you. These guys were popular, they had girls around them all the time, and the guys loved them. Girls wanted to always be there at the bar when they, you know what that seems like. And I saw all that, and I wanted a bit of that. So I had a lot of desire to transform my body, but I had zero clue if my body was even capable of building muscle, because I was a runner for literally 10 years of my life. So that's how I got into the fitness industry. I had a desire to be a trainer and to start a career and to transform my body. And one thing led to another, but I had a pretty dramatic transformation after meeting a pro bodybuilder at my church, of all places. And he was a natural bodybuilder, and he basically busted the industry wide open for me. He exposed all these myths that I once thought were true, and he exposed me to all these mistakes I was making. And he basically became my mentor. And he told me what to do and what not to do, and I trusted him. Within the first 6 months, I gained a lot of muscle. I went from 149 to 190, and I looked a lot different. I wasn't the biggest guy in the gym, but that really inspired me to help other skinny guys in the gym. I had a lot of guys come up to me and say, "Hey, Vince, used to be Skinny Vinny. What the heck are you? What'd you do?" And a lot of people kept asking me, "Can you help me? Can you help me?" So I kind of became the skinny guy expert at my gym. Helped a lot of skinny guys, and then that, one thing led to another, and eventually I put my whole system into an ebook back in 2006, and I've been helping skinny guys build muscle since 2002 at the gym, and 2006 online. And then, the story goes on from there, but we can pause right there if you'd like.
Perfect. That's a great story about how you got started. I'm sure a lot of guys can relate to being skinny and, trying to get the results you've got. And then want to go ahead and get right into Hypertrophy Max. Can you tell us what's so unique about this one? There's a million muscle building programs online. What makes it unique?
That's a great question. So for those who don't know, I'm sure if you're involved in bodybuilding in any degree, you've probably heard of Ben Pikowski. He is actually a former schoolmate. Ben and I went to the same school together, and he became a pro bodybuilder in his mid-20s, and I kind of followed his career as a pro, and I noticed that he was moving up the ranks very quickly, and I actually bought one of his DVDs, his very first one, his first and only one. as a matter of fact. And I noticed that he took a very scientific approach to building muscle. And he was coined the thinking man's bodybuilder. And, he was the first bodybuilder that I ever met who never gave the answer, well, if it works for me, then you should do what I say. And we teach our followers that if anybody gives you that answer, then turn around and run the opposite direction. Because they don't have a clue of what they're talking about. So when Ben started to explain, he started taking things that we learned in university. I realized that he really took them to a new level in terms of application and concepts that you could apply into the gym, taking biomechanics and physics and applying it to how the body moves and how it should move. And how to create tension in a muscle, and how to initiate from the working muscle, and how to move through a full range of motion, how to use strength curves and resistance profiles, and things that I'd heard of, but I knew I wasn't applying. So I hired Ben in 2011 to get me ready because I wanted to compete again. I'd had some previous competitions that competed in fitness modeling, but I wanted to get my pro card with the WBFF. So I know the question you asked me, we're going to get to how it's different in a moment, but it's important to hear the backstory. So I don't want people to think that we just created this program to make money. There's a backstory to this. And something that this is a project that we really, really care about. And it's literally our pride and joy. So after working with Ben, he literally rehauled my physique. First, he worked with me just nutritionally over email and text message. And then we met up in Toronto, and he actually started training me one-on-one. And he got to apply you got to put these techniques on me, and my body changed very quickly. And it's pretty crazy because I've been training for about 8 or 9 years at the time. And anybody who's been training for 8 or 9 years knows that it's hard to transform your body when you're getting close to your genetic ceiling. So I was just like in shock and awe. And I felt like a little kid, the first time we went to a gym, I'm like, oh my God. Every time I went to the gym, it was a completely different experience. I looked at everything differently. I looked at dumbbells, barbells, cables. I just looked at everything with a different perspective. So, after that, I told Ben, I said, dude, man, we got to take your information and we need to put it into an organized program, because this information is great, but it's useless if it's not organized, right? Most guys don't have time or the background to be able to take these concepts and actually put it into a step-by-step program where they can get results. And that was what we did with Hypertrophy Max. The thing that we noticed, which was missing in the industry, was there's a lot of information, right? You search muscle building on Google and you'll get literally, I think, 20 million pages or something. But the problem is that the information isn't organized. And what we wanted to do is take the most important muscle building principles that exist, that are backed by science. This isn't bro science here. And we wanted to create a periodized program, something that was 12 months long, not a 4-week program. And there's nothing wrong with 4-week or 6-week programs. But the problem is that really change your body, there needs to be continuity from phase to phase. It's like the way athletes train, right? An athlete figures out where he needs to be in a year from now, and then he reverse engineers his programming. So what Hypertrophy Max is it's a curriculum-based program. I know we're going to start answering your question. It's not 12 random workouts. It's 12 months of muscle building workouts, and they're all periodized phase by phase, and each one is based on the previous phase. So you couldn't come to me, Anthony, and say, I want to start on phase 6. You get your ass handed to you because the workouts would kick your butt. You wouldn't even make it through the first quarter of the workout. You'd have to do the first 6 months of workouts to gear up for those workouts. So there's been a lot of thought that went into the program design, and the first 6 months are based on the 6, what we call forgotten factors of hypertrophy. And the first phase is on learning how to create tension within a muscle, because a lot of people, it's all about increasing the amount of weight. How much weight can I lift? And, getting stronger does not have correlation to getting bigger. I mean, if you look at Olympic athletes, there's a lot of huge Chinese Olympic athletes throwing 400 pounds above their head with 13-inch arms. You know what I'm saying? So when you start seeing these super, super strong guys who are still small, to ask yourself what's going on. So if your goal is to get big, you have to understand what makes a muscle big. And the first thing we know is time under tension is irrefutably the most critical variable. So if you don't know how to initiate with the working muscle, if you don't know how to maintain tension and fatigue and lactic acid within a muscle, and you don't know how to take your muscle through its full range of motion while keeping tension on it, you're going to just dump all that, you're going to dump the load into a joint. You're going to be sore in the wrong places, and you're not going to see the results you want. So how's Hypertrophy Max unique? Well, the first 12 months, the first 6 months are based on tension. And then the second month, we focus on density, doing more and less time. And then the third month is built around creating lactic acid. And then the fourth month, it's a volume phase. And then the fifth month, we get into like pure intensity training. Scientifically, intensity is defined by how close you work to your 1 rep max. So when I say intensity, this is going to be like a strength style workout. And then the sixth phase is frequency. We're going to make you do more workouts than you've ever done in 1 week and teach your body how to recover faster. So the programming is rock solid. And then the final 6 months are the best 6 months. That's where we do specialization programs. So we dedicate a full month to each program. And one of the big things is with a 12-month program, you can't train all out every week, right? These guys, 90% of our trainees are natural trainees. So we have to design something where people can recover. So here's the deal. What we do is on week 1, it's like without getting too complicated, we scale the intensity up each week. So on week 4, we take a deload week of every phase. So basically each phase we go up, 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 then down, up, 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 then down. So every 4th week, guys are super compensating and growing faster than they've ever grown before and never experiencing a plateau. Our members brag about they don't even know what a plateau is anymore. I don't even know what a plateau is. I've never experienced a plateau in my life. There's always ways to progress your program and your body and different parts of your body. So that's a kind of a long-winded answer, but there's so many things that are unique about the program. But I'd say the big thing is that it's a 12-month program. And obviously the way we deliver it to you, it's hard copy. This isn't digital. You can't find this anywhere. It's sent to your house once a month if you do the monthly option. And what members love about that is that they have something to look forward to. And with the internet, there's so much information. People came to us and they said, we're overwhelmed. There's too much information. It's almost a bad thing now. And I can't stay focused on anything. So now when we send you one phase in the mail, you have something to look forward to, and you know that you have to complete it or you won't be ready for next phase. And that's really helped guys just, clear the clutter and just focus on today, which is ultimately the only thing that matters. Like who you have to be today and knowing what you need to do today in the kitchen and in the gym. So that actually kind of ties into your question 3 a bit as well. But does that all make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. You made it very clear as far as it being a 12-month program, and each month you're doing different things. It's not like you're going to plateau and get stuck at the same thing. So that was a good job at clearing it up. Now, getting to the next question, what about nutrition? What does Hypertrophy Max have?
Well, that's a great question. So we start off with, simple concepts. And, what we found is that the best way to teach nutrition is with, by taking simple concepts, fundamental concepts, things that have proven the test of time, that are, rock solid in the science, and turning those into habits. Because if I were to give you a meal plan and it had 12 things on it that you've never done before, maybe the meal frequency is more, or the portion sizes are more than you're used to, or there's more of this kind of macronutrient than you're used to consuming, you're doomed for failure. And it's not your fault if you fail. It's because I wrote you a program that's too advanced. And that's where most trainers screw up. A lot of trainers out there, they create programs that are too advanced. So what we do is we teach nutrition via habits. And every 2 weeks, you get a new nutrition habit. And we start with the most important things. And our whole philosophy is to create the greatest physiological change with the least psychological resistance. So does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So like taking a fish oil, that's an example. I mean, popping up fish oil has enormous benefits on your body as a whole, but it really doesn't require much effort on your part. So we start with the habits that are the easiest things to implement into your life, and we focus on one thing at a time. And I believe that's what a good coach does. A good coach helps a student focus on one thing at a time and one thing only. I think we're, in the day and age we live in, everybody wants everything yesterday, and we can't focus. We're constantly distracted, and we try and do too much. We try and do everything too fast. And that's not how you're going to build, your best body. If you experience gains, you're going to be short-term and short-lived. So, when it comes to nutrition, calorie wise, we really focus on customizing things to people's body types. And we really focus on a concept called outcome-based decision making, because we're going to give you calories. We're going to give you macronutrient breakdowns. And we have a variety of macro breakdowns we use depending on your body type. But at the end of the day, that's just a guess. It doesn't matter who you're talking to. If you're speaking to the world's smartest scientist, if he prescribes some macros and calories to you, he's just guessing. He's just predicting what he's hoping that these will get the result you want. But at the end of the day, depending on, how your body responds, how hard you're training, your lifestyle, your stress levels, you have to see how your body responds to that diet, and you have to make changes. The victory occurs in the changes that you make from week to week. So we teach people how to make one change at a time, and we often say what gets measured gets managed. So we teach you how to measure everything so that you can manage it, and that you can take control of your diet and not get overwhelmed. And we do this over, we take a long-term approach. So, and then now people are actually seeing what's working, seeing what's not working, and gaining confidence, which is very, very empowering for people. Because again, there's so much damn information out there. At the end of the day, you have to know what you're doing is working for you, and you're seeing results from it, and you need to know how to change it. So we really try to individualize the nutrition approach, and everyone starts with basic concepts. But then a lot of people, based on who they are and their goals and how their body responds, they all kind of go in slightly different directions, but they're pretty similar. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
If you have a specific nutrition question, feel free to ask me. I know that wasn't that was kind of a broad answer.
Yeah. I think you covered it in the sense that it is habit. Anytime you do something, you got to start with small changes. So, as far as like protein, carbohydrate breakdown, can you just go a little bit more detail into that? And like if someone were to start using it?
For sure. So, we'd like to start everyone off with a gram of protein per pound of body weight. Now, as the phases go on, protein has to be based on how much you break down. So if you're breaking down more protein, then you're going to have to replace it with more protein. So we have a certain phase, high frequency training, where we have you training 8 times a week. Now that's not every month. Let me reassure you guys. Sorry, 8 times a month. 8 times a week. So it's way more training than your body's ever been exposed to. So you're breaking down muscle tissue a lot more. So we have to increase protein intake that month. So, we want you to understand why you're doing what you're doing. So once you understand that muscle building is a catabolic activity where you break down muscle tissue, you now have to base your protein intake around how often you break down protein. How big are you? Obviously, a 300-pound individual is going to be having a lot more protein than a 100-pound individual. So, how hard are you training? What kind of body type are you? There's certain body types that don't need as much protein. But, we start everyone off with a gram per pound of body weight and go from there. When it comes to carbohydrates, we're pretty some people consider our approach with carbohydrates a tad controversial, but we don't believe that you need carbohydrates unless you're under 10% body fat. And we've gone even to the extreme of telling people that they're fat if they're over 10% body fat. And that's just our fun way of, catching people's attention. And, the truth of the matter is that you can create stimulate protein synthesis through, leucine, branched-chain amino acids. You've got plenty of stored glycogen on your body, and plenty of fat on your body to get through your workouts if you're over 10% body fat. So we like to get our clients down to around 10% body fat as fast as possible, because that's where you improve insulin sensitivity. That's where you improve nutrient partitioning. That's where basically your body learns how to, it utilizes the calories more to your muscle stores than your fat stores. So we like to get you lean right off the bat. And then once we get you lean, then we can start reintroducing. We have nothing wrong with carbohydrates. We have some members who have 400 grams of carbohydrates immediately after a workout, 200 grams of, dextrose or juice and 200 grams of rice. So we are not opposed to carbohydrates whatsoever. I don't want you guys to misconstrue what I'm saying, but you need to earn your carbohydrates. So, that's one approach. Now, with that being said, we're not fixed on just that only way to get lean. The truth of the matter is we've got a lot of clients that just taper their carbohydrates down slowly. So they may be currently at 200 grams and we take them down to 175 and then 150, then 125, and we take them down gradually. So there's nothing wrong with keeping carbs in your diet and bringing them down gradually to lose fat. But we like to start people off with this approach because it's worked for the majority of people. And then again, based on how the outcomes that are occurring, how you're feeling, then we can modify things along the way. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. Excellent.
So the big thing with the carbs is you've got to earn them. So, if you train hard, you need, basically you have to replace what you expend. So if you're doing a leg workout, you're going to be burning a lot more glycogen. You're going to be going through a lot more carbs as opposed to doing an arm workout, right? So, and you have to also ask yourself, what is your goal too, and how are you feeling? Some guys, if they're on some of our longer volume phases, we have our guys do anywhere from 50 to 100 grams of carbs in the middle of the workout, because if the goal is building muscle, you want everything you're doing in the gym to build muscle. You have to be focused on what is my goal. In the gym, building muscle, what you want, every single person, if this is the only thing you get from this, if your goal is to lose fat or build muscle, when you're lifting weights, you should have one mindset, and that is to build as much muscle as possible. So you want to do things in that workout to help build muscle. And, sometimes carbs can be a great assistant, depending on how long the workout is and how big the body parts are that you're training and how hard you're training within that workout. So again, carbs are a tool, and you need to learn when to use them and how much to use. And again, we want people to be able to understand the why and not just to take 1 gram per pound of body weight because Vince said so. That's not what we're interested in doing. If that's what you want, there's other places that do that for free,
Excellent. Cool. Well, that's a great response to it. Now, as far as supplements, supplements in the field of bodybuilding, there's so many things out there. Should I take them? If so, which ones? Can you kind of give us your viewpoint, especially what people using Hypertrophy, the program, says?
Yeah, so with Hypertrophy Max, the supplementation, again, this is going to be based around a concept called fixing your weakest link. So supplements are exactly that, supplements. So you have to ask yourself, what is my weakest link? So am I having trouble sleeping? If you're having trouble sleeping, we have to look at supplements that help improve sleep quality, because we know that's going to be linked to improving growth hormone levels and recovering. And that's where a lot of gains are made while you're sleeping. So, we're going to look at supplements like magnesium. And that would be a place to start. Now, what about somebody who's having a really hard time building muscle? Well, we may want to increase their zinc intake, because zinc has been shown to help increase testosterone levels. We want to make sure someone's getting in their protein intake. If they're having a hard time getting all their protein from whole foods, then we can introduce a protein powder. So, it's really asking yourself, what is my weakest link? And there's so many different supplements that treat different issues, different things that could be holding you back. And that's how you design your supplement program. You don't base it based on the latest ad you read in Muscle Mag. You base it based on your workout. So, for a strength-based workout where we need to increase mental focus and concentration, we'd want to consider caffeine, because caffeine does that better than anything else. If we want to improve alkalinity, we could look at a greens powder. So there's just a million different supplements out there, but the key is to understand why you're taking it. And then at the end of the day, I always say on supplements, there's the optimal factor. So, perfect world, we'd all be on these supplements because we have an unlimited budget. But then there's the reality factor too. And the reality factor is that many people, and there's nothing wrong with that, just, can't afford every supplement in the book. So I like to always use the term FYB, if it fits your budget. I kind of stole the if it fits your macros thing, and I came up with if it fits your budget. So at the end of the day, there's certain supplements that are more important than others, and you always want to individualize your supplement protocol based on what your needs are, based on your training and your goal and how you're feeling, how you're recovering, etc. So for me, I'll give you guys a couple of examples. Magnesium helps me sleep like a baby. I could literally sleep in a construction site, like uninterrupted, like 10 hours straight when I take magnesium. So that's a big staple for me. And I notice the difference when I don't take it. Another one for me is branched chain amino acids. I'm huge on BCAAs. I take anywhere from 20 to 30 grams, usually like 20 grams a workout, which is not that much for a guy my size. I'm 220. And I find that it helps with soreness. I get less sore, even if my protein intake is standardized, whether I'm taking, if I'm taking 200 grams of protein every day of the week, even if I go to 250, when I'm having BCAAs, I get less sore and I recover faster. So that's a big staple for me. I learned that through some trial and error. So, one of the big things, with our supplement protocols is we always look at the science, but at the end of the day, the truth of the matter is the science is behind in a lot of things and just can't keep up to what a lot of hardcore bodybuilders are doing every day in the gym. So, the best experiment is the one you conduct on yourself. So, we encourage people to make their own decisions and experiment with things and keep what works and drop what doesn't. So I have no problem if someone says to me BCAAs are a waste of money and they're a waste of time. I don't bother with them. That's fine. I have a complete opposite experience, so I'm going to keep using them. So we want people to, again, feel confident in the decisions they make. So we present the science, but then at the same time, we also tell you to experiment, and don't experiment with 10 supplements at once, because then you don't know what's working. Introduce one thing a month and see what happens. And, we obviously encourage our people to do their blood work too. Your blood work is by far the most important thing to do to figure out what supplements you should start off with. Vitamin D is a big one for a lot of people, and fish oils is huge for many people. And the key is to customize your supplement protocol to what your blood work is lacking or where levels need to be brought up, so to speak, topped off, so to speak. So that's a great place to start. And we encourage all of our members to get their blood work taken at least twice a year. Now you're not guessing. And you can have confidence, if you're spending $100 a month or even $200 a month on supplements, at least you now know you're using them for a real reason, and you're not just hoping that they're doing something for you, which is just silly.
Perfect. That's interesting to know. You kind of already covered a couple of the other points. One thing that I wanted to get into, I know that in Hypertrophy Max you have a forums, support groups, and things like that. Studies have shown that you do something in a group, you're more likely to succeed. Can you tell us how it works and that kind of background?
Yeah. So we have a private members forum, and it is not like any public forum where those public forums.
Yep.
There's everybody's a know-it-all. I mean, not everybody, but there's a lot of know-it-alls. There's a lot of trolls. There's a lot of criticizers, complainers, sabotagers. There's a lot of negativity. And again, this isn't all public forums, but if you guys have been on a few, you know that it's not the most positive environment in the world. So the nice thing about Hypertrophy Max is that it's obviously monitored by our team. So everybody there is focused on the same goal. And what's super cool is that you've got literally over 1,000 people starting on the same phase at the same time. There is not a single public forum in the world where you could start a program with 1,000 other people at the same time and go through it together for 12 months. That is extremely powerful, at least in the muscle building world. Maybe other weight loss and stuff, but in the muscle building world, that is, as far as I know, it doesn't exist. So our members average more posts on average than bodybuilding.com. It's actually a stat we just got, which is pretty insane. So it's a very, very active forum. It's a very educated forum. We have a lot of athletes and doctors and therapists and a lot of trainers who are certified with legit certifications, and a lot of people have been training for a while, and a lot of newbies as well. But my point is that there's a lot of helpful and well-educated people in the forums. And obviously Ben and I are in there as well. So, I mean, how often do you get access to a professional bodybuilder? Ben's literally one of the best bodybuilders in the world right now. I've got my pro card with a fitness model, so I've got quite a bit of experience, if you want to get into the fitness model stuff. But I mean, you guys get to tap our 30 years combined experience. And, we take quite a bit of pride in literally seeking out the smartest people in the world. And Ben, because of who he is, being a pro bodybuilder, he has access to people that you and I, and probably 99% of the people out there, have access to. So he gets to meet and interact and get coached by brilliant individuals. So it's quite a blessing to be able to get access to Ben in a private forum and ask him a question, knowing that he's connected with literally many of the world's smartest doctors and therapists and coaches. So it's pretty fun. I mean, isn't that what every single guy wants? To know that the info they're getting is coming from the top and it's not bro science, and that way when you go into the gym, you've got confidence. So anyways, the forums, I could go on all day, but it's an extremely positive community, a completely different vibe than those, public forums. And that's where you get to interact with our members and with us. And, it's just a completely awesome experience. So I recommend people check in at least 5 minutes a day, and you can start a training journal there and post your pictures there. You can get your diet critiqued and all that cool stuff. And then obviously that's where that's also where Ben and I post the habit of the nutrition habits every 2 weeks as well. So, and that's where we post all of our coaching calls and that. So lots of cool stuff in the forums.
Perfect. We've kind of covered a lot of things. There's just one other question I wanted to ask you. If there's one piece of advice from you personally in all your years of experience, life, if someone's either trying to build muscle, achieve a goal, whether it's get a job, graduate, whatever the goal may be, what would that advice be to them?
That's a great question. There's so many things. I think your environment is one of the most influential things on the way you think and, what you get out of life. I believe in the rule of 5. So you're the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. So if you hang out with 5 broke people, there's a good chance you're already broke or you're going to become broke. If you hang out with 5 fat people, there's a good chance that you're already fat or you're going to be fat very soon. If you hang out with 5 ripped and muscular and healthy people, there's a good chance you're going to be lean, ripped, and muscular very soon, or you already are. So this literally applies to every area of life. I mean, even I could even go as far as to say if 5 of your friends are divorced, there's a pretty good chance you're going to be divorced soon too. So your influences, your environment is so important. So, choose your coaches wisely. Choose your mentors wisely. Choose your friends wisely. My dad always told me, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And there's just so much truth in that statement. So yeah, just, I would really focus on getting into the right environment. It's really the missing link. And again, I probably come across as a salesman this entire call, but I'm not. I'm just very passionate about this. And, what was I going to say there? No, what I was going to say is that, most people that go at it alone just never realize their full potential. So I find that getting into the right environment where people are constantly, doing themselves and setting higher standards and people are making breakthroughs, when you're in that environment, that becomes your norm. And you don't expect anything else, anything less than that. And oftentimes when you go at it alone, there's so many things you can't see and you miss, and you're not even anywhere close to your full potential. And I always like, saying, reach up as high as you can with your hand. Reach up and reach as high as you can with your hand. Okay, now reach a little higher. And you reached a little higher, didn't you? Well, you wouldn't have reached it. You thought you were reaching as high as you can until I told you to reach a little higher. And that's kind of how we go through life, unless there's somebody else there kind of pushing you to go a little higher. So I hope that it's a bit of a kick in the butt and something to get you fired up. I really think that your environment's critical, and if you've gone at it alone, give it a shot. I thought I knew everything. I've been doing this for 10 years, and then I worked with Ben, and he literally rehauled my physique in less than a year. And it was a compliment because people were accusing me of, what are you on, Vinny? What are you doing now? I'm like, dude, I just learned how to finally move properly in the gym. And I dialed my diet in. Anyway, so when you get to that, that's quite a compliment. So I hope that helps, guys. And I know I didn't give specific answers to a lot of your questions, but I was really trying to get you guys just to understand what's out there and what's available for you guys. And I'd love to work with anybody who's serious about building muscle. This is a muscle building program. If you're serious about gaining size and mass and strength, I don't know any other program out there that can, deliver the environment and the programming and the coaching that we've put together. And it took us a long time to put this together. So, anyways, take advantage of it. It's open, and it's only open for another few days. So we're closing the door. We open this up. I don't know if you know, Anthony, but every 6 months we open this, and then we close it. So we only accept members for 4 days, twice a year. So then we want to work with all the members. So it's so it closes as quickly as it opens.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, is there any closing words? We've discussed a lot. I know our viewers are going to really like this. Any closing words from me? Are we good?
You know what I would just say? I just actually was reading a good book. It's called The Rockefeller Habits, and it's a business book. But at the very first chapter talks about goal setting. And here's something for you guys to think about. So with goal setting, there's only 2 time frames that matter when you set goals. Where you want to be in 10 years is the first thing you need to figure out. What does your life look like in 10 years from now? You want to get a clear, crystal vision of every piece of your life in 10 years from now. And let's just apply this to your body for now, since this is a bodybuilding muscle fitness call. Once you figure out where you want to be in 10 years from now, the only other goal that matters is what you need to do the next 90 days to get there. That's it. So once you know where you want to be in 10 years from now, that gives you so much clarity on what's the most important thing. So for, most people, it's like, I have to learn how to lift properly. Like if you want to gain 20, 30 pounds over the next 10 years, there's no chance you're ever going to do that unless you learn how to lift properly. So the next 90 days should be dedicated to learning how to lift. For me, I had a recent aha moment where I realized that I need to learn how to cook. Because I'm just speaking on for myself right now. The main reason that I have a hard time gaining muscle is because I miss meals. And I'm so busy that, I'll get in 3 meals instead of 5 meals. And it doesn't happen just, once a week. It'll happen sometimes 3 or 4 times a week. So how am I supposed to grow? One of the problems is that I don't enjoy most of the meals because I don't know how to cook them well. I've never taken cooking lessons. So I actually recently hired a personal chef. I invested $2,400 of my own money into learning how to cook. I actually brought her my meal plans. And I said, can you give these a makeover? She looked at them and she burst out laughing. She's like, this is what you eat? I'm like, yeah, this is how bodybuilders eat. She's like, oh my God, this is horrible. I'm like, well, help me. So, I realized that based on where I want to be in 10 years from now with my physique, there's no chance I'm ever going to achieve that goal. Even if I said one day I'm going to start taking steroids, I don't even think I could achieve my goal if I went that route, if I don't know how to eat. I'm not concerned how to eat. If I don't learn how to cook delicious meals and how to enjoy my diet, ensure that I have a meal that I don't want to miss because it tastes so good. So I realized I had to fix this problem now. Or else I'm just going to be spinning my wheels. We're going to be, in 12 months from now, I'm going to have the same problem. and life goes by fast. I'm already 34. It's crazy. I'm like, holy crap, 6 years, I'm going to be 40. I'm missing out on the best days of my life. These are the days I want to be ripped and muscular. So, guys, time is of the essence. Time is ticking. You don't have any, don't take time for granted. So, the program, we want to help you guys. And, I think that's just those are my closing words. Figure out where you want to be in 10 years from now, and then figure out what you need to do in the next 90 days to make it happen. And that should give you some clarity on what the best decision for you is now. Maybe it's Hypertrophy Max, maybe it's not. But if it is, we're waiting for you, and we'd love to work with you.
Excellent. Well, thanks for taking the time to share this information with our readers and viewers, Vince. I really appreciate it. And we'll be speaking with you shortly.
Okay, man. Thanks so much, Anthony.
Okay.
And thanks, everybody, for sticking around and listening to the call. We really appreciate it.
Excellent. Okay. Bye-bye.